Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Episode 5 of Fitness League 5. My name is Andre Cruz, Cruise Control. Who are you?
Chris Espinal, head coach, CrossFit Regionals Square. Good to be back, guys. Missed you.
We missed you.
Mike Big White Kahuna from J2 Fit.
Doesn't know who he is anymore.
Have so much caffeine.
Julio, the barbell whisperer.
Really quick, before we get started, big shout out to our sponsors, Rhino Co. Here we go. My titties dance.
Whoa.
Yep. CrossFit Union Square.
Caveman coffee in the house today.
Yeah.
Woo, man.
We finally
Our
got
prayers
it.
have been
Our
answered.
prayers have been answered. Delicious.
Big
and
shout
nutritious.
out.
Yep.
They're gonna help us burn fat and stay jacked.
There we go. That's what it's all about. Fireline Strong.
Reebok 1, J2 Fit,
My biceps.
And Julio's mom.
the Barbell CEO.
Julio's mom is still sponsoring.
Still
She's still
sponsoring
sponsoring us.
Rice and beans.
She's
Rice
an
and
angel.
beans
all
all
day.
day.
She's
Cool.
an angel.
So today we have the pleasure of being joined by a very strong lady. She's probably stronger than like 90% of the guys who are watching this podcast right now. She's kind of
Stronger than me.
stronger than two of
Shots
the guys
fired.
that are here right now. But that's okay. We have Liz Adams. She is a Grid League athlete and a CrossFit athlete, and we're going to talk to her about how she is awesome. Let's bring her in. Liz Adams. Come on in. Come on in. Come on in.
Thanks, guys.
Adams.
Would you like some coffee?
I would love some
Caveman coffee? Grab
Delicious
some.
too. Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
He got
Like
real.
that.
He
got real this week.
thank you. Thanks
Are
for
they-
having me,
Doesn't
guys.
Caveman Coffee sponsor you as well?
No, they don't sponsor me, but
They should.
Now they do.
For this
Yeah.
hour, they do. For this hour, they
Guys
do.
are
I'm
slacking.
big fan of their products.
Oh,
There we go.
Cool.
So Liz, tell us a little bit about yourself before we get.
About me.
Yeah, just tell us how did some of your stats. Since we mentioned you were stronger than 90% of the men watching, tell us some of your lifting stats.
All right. Well, I recently snatched 195 pounds.
Nice.
I've cleaned 255. I've clean and jerked 245. I back squatted 300 for 4. So yeah, those are like recent.
Dude, I feel I should just
She
leave
does
this
that.
room right now.
How much
I
I
should
can
just
deadlift? I can
leave.
deadlift 400.
She can deadlift 400.
How much you bench, bro?
I haven't tested my bench in a while.
Okay.
Probably like 200.
Do you know your
Pretty
bicep
good.
curls?
Pretty
One
good.
rep max bicep curl.
Well, I was told that I do bicep curls wrong because I do a lot of this thing, but if you like isolate the bicep curl, probably like 20
You know what they
pounds.
say. Good form will make you strong. Bad form will make you stronger.
If you
I
don't
think
die.
with the
If you don't
bicep
die.
curl.
So Julio's 2 favorite things are bad form and steroids, right? Is that
Not working very much, but I'm being patient. I hope you.
And he's just
Slowly
eating a donut
injecting.
right now, too.
Just finishing a donut. Yeah.
No donuts.
right?
I'm not in on the donut and like deadlift thing.
No.
No.
Oh, we had cake and deadlifts last
Cake
week.
and downlifts,
Cake and
episode
Cake
4.
and
Yeah.
deadlifts.
Yeah.
What is
Do
your
that.
favorite dessert? What do you like to eat?
I'm a big chocolate fan.
Okay.
I can't, but I'm more of a salt person, so I don't have
Yeah.
like the biggest sweet tooth, but like I love chips.
Okay.
Like, I love salt. But chocolate would be like any form of chocolate. The crack bar from Who Kitchen is like
Yeah.
my favorite, I think.
Who Kitchen? Another
Who Kitchen.
sponsor, maybe. Maybe. They're right down the street. Come on.
No pressure. No pressure.
No pressure. But Caveman stepped up. What are you guys doing?
Shots were fired.
All right.
So tell us more. So all right, in terms of athleticism, how did you get into the world of being athletic and awesome?
I think, well, as like an early age, I was always drawn to like sports and boys and playing with boys and not dolls. Like my sister got a Barbie doll when we were younger, and I remember like I ripped the head off and threw it behind the couch. I wasn't into dolls, so I always wanted to play like street hockey with my neighbors. I always wanted to play football in elementary school. And then I just started playing basketball in, I think, 4th grade, and I just played basketball. And then Jay, my brother, got me into CrossFit, so it was an easy transition.
Do you think a lot of the other elite girls have the same kind of
Upbringing.
story or upbringing? Yeah.
I definitely think they were all competitive in some form of sport or skill, like
Okay.
gymnastics or, soccer or some
Yeah.
sort of sport. Like you had to have some sort of like competitive background. I don't know if they were all like playing football with boys, but I was.
When did you start lifting?
So when I started CrossFit is when I like started lifting and enjoyed it. I didn't like it when I had to do it. So
Like for
when
basketball?
For basketball,
Yeah.
I hated it. Like my AAU coach would make me go into the gym and I'd be like, I can't do this. This is too heavy. And I wasn't. I just hated doing it.
Right.
And same thing in college. I was like, no, I'm not gonna do this. And then I was like, I don't want to get big. And now, like, all I want to do is lift weights. So it's a weird way, like, kind of transitions. And then the number one thing I get from, I just had like a private client last week, and she was like, I don't want to get bulky. I was like, yeah, I hear that a lot
All the time. Yeah.
from women. But then once they start CrossFit, all the girls are like, no, I want to be able to do this. I want to be so strong. So I think there's like a big misconception that women who do CrossFit are going to get big and bulky. It takes a lot to get like big. And 99% of the women doing CrossFit is CrossFit as a form of fitness, not as a sport, and you're not gonna get like jacked doing that. So.
And you're a CrossFit coach too, so
Correct.
you get a lot of those questions,
Yes.
and that's your answer.
That's my answer, and it's just like, I think that it's kind of, I think women are afraid to be strong. I think there's like some sort of like negative connotation with like women being strong. Like, I don't know if they think like a man will see them and be like, ew, she's gross, she looks like a man, she's strong. And so that's why they've like stayed away from being competitive or being athletic or, you know, wanting to do things that maybe they wanted to do and were hesitant to do it because they're like, well, if I get jacked, I'm not gonna get a boyfriend. Like that kind of thing. So I think CrossFit, once like you get into it and we have like here at Union Square as well as at Fifth Ave, there's a huge like female base at our gyms, and once women start to do CrossFit, I think it's very empowering, and then they're like, oh, fuck it, I don't want to be with it, can I say that?
Yeah.
You can say whatever you want. Say whatever you want.
Like, I don't
This
want
is
to
explicit.
I don't want to, you know, date somebody that's not going to appreciate that, or like, I don't want to have to think about that or be insecure about that. Because I was, like, when I was in middle school, like, people used to make fun of me, and I'd be like, I'm not. They'd be like, oh, you look like a man. I'd be like, what? So I was like, insecurity of mine, and even now, like, I'll think about it, and I'll be like, no, whatever. But it's definitely harder you don't see like a lot of girls like that, so it's harder. But I think CrossFit is definitely breaking those barriers, and you know, and strong is beautiful.
Absolutely.
Hashtag.
Strength and beauty. Yeah.
I tell Julio that every day.
It's beautiful.
It's been like the last 5 years. It's been
Oh, yeah, it's been a
major
big trend.
breakthrough. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
you think about like someone that's famous on multiple levels, like Ronda Rousey, like that do nothing bitch thing.
Yeah.
Like, that went viral, and
Yeah.
and women start to embrace this thing, like, you know, as opposed to being aesthetic, like performance. Like, I want to do X, I want to do
Yeah.
Y, and not look. I mean, obviously.
Well,
we all
it
want
went
to look
viral
this
too
way.
because she's also attractive, right?
Yeah,
It's like
she's
like
beautiful.
a lot of CrossFit girls are attractive.
Yeah.
Like even the high elite ones. So I think like that's part of breaking the ship is like you can be athletic and still have a sex appeal. Like,
Right.
Yeah.
I think CrossFit does a very good job of showing that, like in the at least elite female athletes.
And
It's
the
like the
apparel.
sexy part of it.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, because you're working out in your underwear.
Correct.
Like, it's like, yeah, I'm gonna watch that.
Correct.
How about those CrossFit games?
Correct.
I don't want to watch the men. That's boring. That's boring.
You've appeared a couple of times on
Only a couple.
on Fear Boners, and
I
that's
have.
Plug the Fear Boners. That's follow them on Instagram. They're awesome, funny.
I have not seen that
Con-
kind
There's
of.
a
It's
co-
called
yeah.
Fear
Fear
Boners.
Fear Boners.
and it's
Yeah.
all like
Beautiful
hot
women.
CrossFit chicks.
It's kinda like-
Liz has
I'm
been
gonna
out.
find it, and then when I'm doing the mixtape, I'm gonna put a Fear Boner image of her in there.
I think it's boners with a Z.
It is boners with a Z.
Yeah,
It's
but they kind of do
Oh,
like
so I was just really vulgar then, right there.
Yeah.
no, yeah, you're weird. Good. They do like bracketology of women.
That wasn't fun. I did not. That like I would not recommend doing it again because I get it. It was supposed to be like a joke and fun. First of all, I went up against Brooke Wells. I was like, God damn it. And she's got like a huge following. This
Yeah.
was even before she went to the games, before she had a huge following. And at first I was like, oh, this is funny. And then like people got really like nasty
Oh,
in
yeah, I'm sure.
like the comments, and it's just like you don't need to put like women against each other because then people start saying
Yeah,
stuff.
but to
and
be
it's
fair,
like,
I think you were wearing a little bit more clothes than she does.
no, we both had clothes off, but mine was like a professional shot done, and they like took the worst picture of Brooke possible, like, and then like put it against like a professional shot, and they were like, well, this is unfair. She still beat me, so like not even close.
Maybe we should do that, but for the fitness league. That'd
for
be
the
kinda-
dudes.
For the dudes.
No, we're too into
Make a fitness league calendar, you know, like
We can do
That's
that.
next.
get some passive income coming in.
Would you guys buy a fitness league
for
calendar?
Jay for autumn.
I mean,
No, we need to spray tan Jay like for 10 hours.
you literally have
I'm not
every
gonna show up.
flavor of the market in
That's
this
it.
podcast.
That is true.
He's so white.
And as a reminder, Jay is her brother. Now let's get into that. So Jay is also an animal in his own right. Actually, he's an animal. He's an elite athlete. He has a background in athletics, but in terms of you guys being siblings, let's
Yes.
talk about like how did that work for you guys genetically? Do you think there's an advantage, or that you guys were disposed with some sort of like chromosome that made you amazingly strong?
So we actually did. I did my DNA testing over the summer, and then it took I went through 23andMe, and Jay did it a couple months after mine, so he's waiting to get his results back. So I got my DNA back, and I was like mostly European, like English, Irish, a little bit of Italian. I had some Neanderthal percentage in there, which is cool. And then my coach had me take my DNA and then upload it into this website called Athletogen. So then it takes your DNA and then breaks down like all your chromosomes and analyzes kind of what you're predispositioned to be like good at. So I had like 5 out of 5 on like power genetics or whatever. Then they test like your aerobic, your metabolism, stress levels, like anything you can think of. They'll be like, well, you have the AG chromosome, which is found in a lot of like endurance athletes, or you have the Y something chromosome, and that's found in more elite power athletes and stuff like that. So I was very high on the power athlete. I also had like the chromosome for endurance athlete, which I didn't think I would. Lower stuff on, I forget what, I was supposed to look at it, but it made sense where I kind of fell in terms of what I'm good at, and then kind of what I'm not so good at.
Would you recommend athletes try the DNA test?
Yeah, it's really cool. It's $100 through 23andMe, and then the Athletogen is free. And basically, you can see kind of what your DNA or how you're built, and then what kind of your ceiling is. So we were talking about the other week is, you can work as hard as you want. You can train every day, and you can, put hours and hours and hours into your craft. But at the end of the day, genetics play like a pretty big role. So if you put me against, another girl in there who, is trying to get stronger and working so hard, and all she's doing is strength, like if she doesn't have the genetics to be strong, her ceiling is, there's going to be a ceiling to that hard work. So it catches up with you.
So what you're saying is I'll never be as strong as Andre?
Correct. That is what I'm saying.
Right.
That is what I'm saying.
And listen,
Get the fuck out.
Is there any surprise? I mean, what
We
is
all
it,
just shrink next
the
time.
top 500 track runners come from African descent.
Negro.
Western
Those blacks are
Africa.
fast.
Western Africa. So,
I wasn't gonna say it.
I don't know where I'm from.
It's amazing.
Somewhere.
But so apparently Western Africans have that explosive
Fast twitch,
switch.
yeah.
And Eastern and Northern have the marathon, the long endurance. So Ethiopians generally win marathons.
Sure.
And then you have
Kenyans.
Kenyans.
Those guys are killing the endurance game, whereas the Western Africans are destroying the track and field. So, I mean, obviously genetically, you see it play a role in the way, like the Olympics, the placings in the Olympics, and obviously you see it play a role in our own gym. Like when siblings are both extremely powerful, there's an obvious like genetic potential or a genetic.
How about your sister? She's
Yes,
strong
so
too, but
my sister, so there's 4 of us, and the 3 older, myself, my sister, and Jay, we're all athletes, all grew up playing sports. We were all very naturally strong. Even when I didn't try to be strong, I was always strong. So like back in elementary school, like I would fight with boys, I would always win. Like I beat up Jay. There was a specific point where I knew I couldn't beat Jay up anymore. And like we're 2 grades apart, we're like a year and a half. I'm a year and a half older than him. And I think I was in 8th grade and he was in 6th grade, or I was in 9th grade and he was in 7th grade, and we got into it and we started like going at each other, and he kind of just like pinned me up against the wall. I was like, I think that's it. That's it. And then so my sister did CrossFit for a little. She's not really doing CrossFit anymore, but she was always just naturally strong. Like anything powerful, like or anything requiring raw strength. So like a deadlift or a squat. Like I could walk in the gym without doing CrossFit, probably deadlift like 300 pounds. And same thing with Katie, same thing with Jay. It's the higher skill technique lifts that took a while for me to figure out. Because other than that, like I was used to kind of just figuring it out.
Yeah.
And then like something like a snatch or a jerk or clean and jerk, I was like, why can't I do this? So it was very frustrating.
Can you talk about your journey on Olympic lifting? Because
Yeah.
I'm kind of similar. Like I have that genetics where
Raw.
I came into CrossFit with like retard strength.
Right.
Where I just like 500 pounds off the ground, no big deal. And then like I couldn't snatch anything. I couldn't
Right.
clean. So talk
So
about
I think
how
a
you
lot of it
CrossFit.
was figuring out, and I'm still figuring it out. Like for the snatch, for example, it's like, oh, I just figured out like how to actually use my lats and like pull the bar into my body, or just the shoulder stability stuff. A lot of it has to do with mobility. I never did any of that in basketball, so hips are tight, ankles are tight, which are gonna make a difference on like a clean and a snatch. And then when I figured out, I remember the day I figured out like the first pull off the ground for a snatch. I was like, oh my god, that makes such a big difference, because then you're like setting yourself up to have that bar in a better position in the second pull. With the clean, like I remember I squat cleaned like 225 maybe 2 years ago, and it was hideous. But like if I could get under it, I could stand up with it. But now, like, oh, you know, the pull straight up and down through the lats, not like through the traps. And now I'm catching it in a better position, and I'm more up and down. And like 225, I could do probably cold clean at 225. So I just started in the last couple of months, started to see like what a big difference, like all of the technique work, the accessory work with the shoulders and the back muscles. Because now I'm being able to do things that like people are like, wait, how are you this strong? But I've always been that strong. I haven't been able to transfer that strength to a skill. So like my jerk, like they always say, like if you can jerk more than you clean, like you're probably a pretty good lifter. I always was able to clean more than I could jerk. Now it's kind of catching up with my clean.
Yeah.
So the jerk's still like iffy. But it's a process. It's taken a while. It's frustrating too, because I'm like, I'm really strong. Why can't I do this? There are girls that are like twice my size snatching more than me. Why? Like I should be able to do it. And it's not. You can't like. Yeah, we should be able to do a lot of things, but you have to enjoy. I just had a conversation with my coach this morning. It's like the kind of road and then the destination. And if you don't like the road, or you don't want to be a part of that, like, you know, journey, then you're never gonna make it to that destination type thing. So it's the process of it. And I watched a really cool documentary on Dirk Nowitzki and kind of how he got to where he was in the NBA. And I think Kobe Bryant was interviewed, and he was saying a lot of people like are in the gym or they're, you know, on the basketball court, and they're like, oh, I'll just do it tomorrow. And there's a lot of days like on a Friday when I remember you were there one day. It was like a gymnastics conditioning session. And I was like, I don't want to do this. This is the last thing I want to do. I can do it tomorrow. But you can't, because there is no tomorrow. You have to do it today. And it may not make it may seem like it's not a big deal, but it's those little things where you kind of just do it and you put in that extra work that in the long run I think will make a big difference.
Or even I remember on the day of your birthday, I was over at Fifth Ave, and I was like, hey, you taking your day off today? It's your birthday. You're like, no, it's a regular training day. You know? And for all those people that are out there right now, and you know, they're thinking, I'm gonna start this road to regionals or to the games or whatever, and then you continue taking these days off where it's like, oh, I'll do it tomorrow. It's not.
Or any fitness, really.
Well, it's the same thing for people who are like, well, it's December. I'm gonna wait until January 1st.
Right, like the diet, or like the same discipline can be applied to nutrition, can be applied to any sort of goal you want to reach, whether it be in the workplace, whether it be in the gym, whether it be, you know, like I said, diet-wise. And I've found that people really struggle with discipline or routine, and I've always been very disciplined and always very routine, and I have a lot of females being like, I want to lose weight, I want to lean out, and so I'll be like, okay, so track your food, let me know, we should switch this up a little, and I'll be, you know, check in a week later, and she's like, oh, I already messed up, already 3 days in, couldn't do it. And I'm like, if you're not like mentally, if you don't mentally have it, like at some point, like you reach a level and we're all very, you know, capable physically. And when you get to a certain level in CrossFit, everyone is strong, everyone is fast, everyone's good at gymnastics. And then that mental aspect comes into it. So how much harder can you push? Like, when do you break mentally? Because your body will quit before your mind ever does. So you need to train kind of mentally too. And I think that's where I need to get better at this year, is just like my mental fortitude and stuff like that.
You've also been lucky enough to work with like Annie and Katrin. And, you know,
yeah. So I'm definitely lucky to be able to train with like high level athletes like Annie and Katrin. They're very special. But to see what I noticed in Annie is she just, and more so in Annie, like Katrin is obviously an incredible athlete, but I've spent more time with Annie. It's just, she turns it on, and when she turns it on, it's like she'll kind of bite nails and be able to push when most people can't. And she's so skilled, like in everything she does. So her gymnastics skill is so elite, and she's a good lifter, and she's got a crazy kind of lactic threshold. She can push through kind of anything. It's a very mental thing when you reach that level. So it's been really good for me to lose all the time when I work out with them. So
When did you realize you had a chance in terms of like competing with that kind of athlete, like at that level? When did you realize you had the chance, and then what did you address? Like, what do I need to do at this point in time to get there? When did that happen?
So I think the first time I started CrossFit, I remember I hated it. The first class, and Jay was like, come back. I was like, fine. And then like the next class, I was like, whatever. And then my third or fourth time, I was wearing like big baggy basketball shorts. I had my Jordans on. We were doing box jumps, and I was like, I fucking hate losing. Like, these people are beating me. Why are they beating me? Because I wasn't in CrossFit shape. There's a difference between being in shape and like CrossFit shape. I've never done any of this before. And I think I realized that day, I was like, I'm a better athlete than all these people in here. Like, if I work hard and figure out how to do this, I'm going to beat all of them. And I think it was then, like, I want to be the best at what I do. And I've always been that way. Whether it's true or not, when I played basketball, I always told myself, I was the best one on that court. And I usually played well when I thought like that. So I know there's a fine line between like being arrogant and being confident, but I always walked on that court and was like, you're not going to beat me today. And the games I didn't do that, or when I was insecure or hesitant, that's kind of when I thought too much and I didn't play well. So I kind of applied that same thing with CrossFit. I kind of always knew that I have a good athletic base. I have no gymnastic experience, and that's kind of what I've had to address, is that high volume skill gymnastics I've never done. And you're at a pretty big disadvantage if you've never done that. So that's definitely something that, you know, I've worked a lot on. Chris has worked with me. I mean, it's still a process. There's got a ways to go, but it's fun to see like some improvements and feel more comfortable with it. But definitely anytime I see like a volume of chest to bar muscle ups, I'm like, oh God, not this. But like, it's like I said, you have to. And those are the days where I'm like, yeah, you're not going to beat Annie on muscle-ups and strict deficit handstand push-ups, but if you just get through it and do it, like, you're going to get better. Like, you've already gotten better. So it's like not kind of setting yourself up for failure, like mentally approaching a workout like that, or when you train with them, and they're so much better at that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I think you have to attack everything with the attitude of like, I'm going to do the best that I can do,
Right.
whatever that is.
Right, and so that's like a big philosophy of mine too, and I think the biggest difference in my training from this year and last year is last year I was like, I have to do this, I have to make the games, I have to make regionals, or else I'm not a good athlete. Like, I let certain things define who I was instead of my goal should be each day, I want to be the best athlete that I can become. I want to work every day to be the best athlete that I can become. That may mean I never make the CrossFit Games. That may mean I may never make regionals. Like, the outcome is out of my control, but the process is in my control. So if I, you know, have that attitude, then I have to be okay with whatever happens because I don't control the outcome. Something might have happened. You know what I mean? So that's kind of the way I'm trying to focus on my training.
Yeah.
Knowledge bomb. We're going to repeat that.
Well, it goes along with the saying, and like, I mean, I now drop this on my clients, like, get the bitch out of your heart, right? And it's like, I remember training here last year when I first started, when we all started training together, and it wasn't like, I mean, like, I was trying to keep up with you guys doing like CrossFit. I was like, this guy's strong as fuck, and I was like, if I just come in and try my best for that day, and there'd be times where I kind of hit that like black gray period of my eyes would be like zoning out, and Hunter would be like, get the bitch out of your heart. You just dial it back in, and you're like, that's all you need, right? So, I mean, and progressively, if you keep that bitch away, you just slowly get better. You just suppress those horrible feelings, and you get stronger.
It's like an 80% mental at this point, like in all athleticism, and that's what she keeps addressing. And that's what I keep hearing. Like, if you get into a fight, like when I would fight, if you walked in with any doubt,
Oh, you're done.
that's it, you're done. I mean, you walk in, you're like, for a moment, like, it's such a mental game. You watch like boxing, you're like, they talk shit like to the 18 power, not because they believe what they're saying, but because they want to get underneath the person's skin. And the objective is to like break them. So mentally, yeah, if you walk into a workout and you're either like negative about it, or like, oh, I'm not gonna do well on this portion, or this is gonna kill me. Like, I walk into snatches every day, and I'm like, oh. And listen, and snatches continue to be my nemesis. Like,
Not for long.
Not for long. So it's like it's an issue, like, and it's very mental. Like, the way you approach things, the commitment level you attack it with, will produce an outcome.
You got to talk like Mike Tyson. Go up to the barbell. I'm gonna fucking take the number.
He said it to Justin Bieber. Did you know that?
No.
It was to Justin Bieber. He said that.
Nice.
He said,
Tyson said that to Bieber?
yeah, I think it was Bieber. He said,
Why?
He was talking shit, I think. I think it was that, yeah.
Are you sure?
I don't definitely get
I
understand.
talk shit. I talk shit.
He's like, I'm gonna fucking see you love me, you faggot, or something like
Yeah,
that. And I was like,
yeah.
only he can say that and not sound gay. It's like,
Yeah,
I was like, what?
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
So,
I should.
yeah. Well, so I had a question. So, you know, and this might relate to a lot of people that are in classes, or even athletes that are on a higher level, but maybe you're like a step below the elite, right? You've kind of made that jump. And they do walk into the gym, they're like, man, I'm not the best. Maybe they're working next to you and they're like, man, how can they overcome those like negative thoughts? Or how can they start to focus on the process of what they can do, you know?
So I think the first step is you can't compare yourself to other people. And I remember in the beginning I would look at like an Annie or Sam Briggs, and not only did I compare myself to what they were doing like CrossFit wise, I would be like, well, I need to be like as lean as Sam Briggs. I need to be like, I would need to weigh as much as Annie if I'm going to be better at gymnastics. So then I like started playing around with my diet. I got way too skinny and it messed up my performance. And you can't compare yourself to everybody's different. You know, Annie's genetically different than I am. Like Sam's genetically different than I am. I'm never going to look like Annie. I'm never going to look like Sam. And I can't, worry about, what they look like. I have to worry about what works best for me and what's best for my performance. So the biggest, and I still struggle with it, like comparing myself to other people, but if you're worried about other people, you're not focusing on yourself. So it doesn't matter if someone beats you in a workout. It doesn't matter if, I'm stronger than this person. It's hard and it's easier said than done, but the only person that matters is you. And I think a lot of people, I think guys struggle with it a lot, but girls more so is because we're always like on social media looking at someone's Instagram. Everyone looks good on Instagram, and no one's gonna post looking bad. Like, it might be a funny fail on a lift, but nobody's gonna post that day where like you're crying on the floor and you're like, I don't know why I'm doing this, that kind of thing. So stepping back and just realizing that you don't need to worry about what other people are doing because they're thinking the same thing. Like, it's not like they're not thinking the same thing. So the process is like, what are you doing to become a better version of yourself? And what are you doing to become, better at what you want to focus on, and setting goals for yourself. And it can't be, I need to be better than this person.
Yeah.
That's stupid.
So speaking of that, who do you train with on a regular basis?
Now that Jay's back from Miami, I train with Jay pretty much every day. No, Poop is out. Poop doesn't train with me anymore.
Why?
I don't know. Bobby.
Oh, Bobby.
Jesus.
He goes in and out. He goes in and
What did he do to
in and
get
out. His lifestyle is not really conducive to my training schedule. So, but that's the thing too. Like, I don't wait for anybody. Like, if I say I'm training at 10, like, I'm training at 10. I hate waiting for people. And there have been times, Jay had like a meeting last week, and he had like a phone call. He was like, it'll be 15 minutes. I was like, okay, I'll start warming up. 45 minutes later, I was like, I'm fucking starting if he doesn't walk out in 5 minutes. And I'm strolling out. He's like, I'm sorry. But I hate waiting for people. But I train a lot by myself too. When Annie and Frederick aren't in town, I do a lot of training by myself. I think it's good and it's bad. I do a pretty good job of being able to push myself alone, but it's obviously, when I have Jay to train with, he's going to beat me in a lot of things, and I think that's like kind of a good gut check. And it's easy to not go to that place when you're by yourself.
Yeah.
Like, it's easy to kind of like, I don't need to go that hard. But when I hate losing. Like, Jay and I did a workout yesterday, and we did the same weight on the wall ball and the same weight on the kettlebell, and I was like really pissed afterwards. Like, I hate it. I hate losing so much. Like, it makes me like physically, like I'm competitive to a flaw, and when I shouldn't be, but I can't turn it off like in anything.
That's why you are where you are, though.
Yeah.
I think so. Like, and it's always been that way. Like, when I was a kid, my dad was saying, I don't know how it got brought up, but my dad was saying that like if I would lose a basketball game, he'd have to like carry me off the floor because I'd either be crying or I'd be trying to fight the refs, and he would have to physically. Lots of time. I used to be a really bad sport. I still like throw something across the gym or punch a wall or kick a barbell, but I've gotten better.
That's all normal. That's all.
Yeah. I've gotten better about controlling the emotions.
What would you say? So, like, the biggest thing I feel like women struggle with in CrossFit, let's address CrossFit, is the muscle up. How long did it take you to get that, and where are you now from then?
Well, it actually did not take me. I got a muscle up before I could legit do pull-ups. and then I snapped my arm in half.
Whoa.
It was like
Tell that story.
kind of
Tell that
mental.
story.
So I have a scar right here. So I had a complete spiral fracture of my humerus bone.
Man.
So I was doing a muscle up, and it was almost like a strict muscle up, and I went to dip out, and this got a little too far away from me. I don't know what happened. Obviously, it was not great form. And then I went to dip out, and it just snapped, and I came down from the rings. And it wasn't like I collapsed from the rings. I dipped out. It snapped. I heard something. Something felt like really weird, and Jay was there. He was like, "Come down." So I jumped down, and he was like, "Lie down." And I was like, "What the fuck just happened? What the fuck just happened?" And he like put his shirt over my arm, and so I couldn't see anything. But I was definitely in shock because I didn't immediately feel any sort of pain. And I was like kind of scared. I was like, "What happened?" Like I heard like a snap. I heard a noise, and the gym I was at, Kalina, was like, "No, it was the rings that made the noise when you came down." I was like, it sounded like a tree branch, like just snapping in half. I don't think so. And then like immediately, like I want to say like 15 minutes, I went into like the most excruciating pain I've ever heard, like been through in my life. It felt like my arm was on fire, and I don't know what. So I had to get surgery. I had like complete radial nerve damage, so my hand didn't work for 6 months. So my bone healed, but like I couldn't move my hand at all. Finally, I don't know how that came back because they thought they were gonna have to do surgery again to repair the nerve, but it thankfully came back. So muscle ups were very, very mental for me for a while. I'm not like scared of them anymore. I definitely was when I started to like come back. But I think the biggest thing and they're still like need a lot of work. They've gotten a lot better. But the biggest thing for me was figuring out like to delay the pull and increase it. So a lot of girls can kip, they can do a strict ring day, they can do a strict pull up, but they don't understand like the strength in the back that you have to have. So I think being able to increase like your pulling muscles, and then figuring out you're not gonna pull yourself over the rings, you need to sit up over the rings. And I think that takes a lot of practice because everyone wants to immediately jump on the rings.
And if you need help with that, just email me, Chris.
The master of muscle ups. So Chris is really great muscle ups. And now I just need to work on still keeping the arms straight, like leading with the toes, so I'm opening up the hips, and just under fatigue, being able to know that I can, do 3 muscle ups unbroken. Then come down and take like a 2-minute break.
That's such a daunting thing. I feel like even if you're good at muscle ups, like I'm pretty decent at them, but like when you're tired, it's like, fuck, I gotta go up there and pull myself up. It's just, it's exhausting. Just thinking about it.
I have a question about regionals. Like, you've been twice?
So I've been on a team twice, and I went individually last year.
What'd you place last year?
I don't even remember. It was like 30th. It was terrible. Maybe it's 28th.
So that, talking about what we mentioned earlier, all the work that you put in, and then you go to regionals and you come in that place, wherever that place was. How do you come back? Like, what was your frame of thought going back into training? Like, okay, this is how much more work I'm gonna have to put in. Do I even want to put that much more work in? Or?
So for me, regionals, I don't think and I reflect a lot on it. It was not a great experience. Well, it was a good experience in one way. I think it was a great learning experience for me, and it was kind of like a reality check and a very humbling experience. It was a bad experience in the fact that like I didn't meet the goals that I had set for myself. I think my biggest issue with regionals is that I just wasn't ready. Like I think I had all the physical capabilities. I was going to obviously struggle with some of the gymnastics movements. I did well in the muscle up one and the strict handstand push up one. So I did surprisingly well on the ones that I didn't think that I would do that great on. And the ones that I was supposed to do good on, I did terrible on. So I think it started with the first workout, Randy, which I did really well in the 2 times I ran through it, or the 3 times, and it's a good workout for me. And I remember walking out of there, and I had no confidence. I was on the floor. I was freaking out. I couldn't see my brother. Like, I couldn't, I was looking around, and I just shit the bed. And I remember thinking while I was doing it, I was like, I should have gone team. I should have gone to and you fuck yourself, and then you never recover. And
it's that mental thing.
It's a total, and I think I just, I wasn't mentally ready for it. And I was used to, doing really well at a lot of things, and then that kind of just hit me like a truck, and then I never kind of recovered. But in terms of like how I kind of got back into training after regionals. We got back on a Sunday or whatever, and I worked out on Monday. I just did like a run and like push-ups or whatever. But I never questioned whether or not I would get back into training. Like, it just makes me want to work that much harder. Like, I was right back. I was like ready to go. I was like, so how do I fix this? And there was never any like hesitation there. What I realized from regionals was, I think mentally is just working on kind of becoming a better athlete and controlling my emotions. I can't freak out. Like, I have to respond well to pressure, which I always did well in basketball. I always was like, I want the ball at the end of the game. Like, I never kind of broke there in terms of my mindset. With CrossFit, it's different. I think it was different because there are things that I wasn't good at in CrossFit. I was always good at basketball. It was like one-dimensional thing. With CrossFit, there are movements where like, I'm not good at those things. Like, I'm gonna fuck up. And so learning to be more confident and knowing that I can do those, and then I gotta get better at gymnastics and that kind of thing. But I was right back. I did like an hour workout the day after regionals, like with running and push-ups. It was like I forget, like a main site or a comp. It was like a row, and then every
So often, just
10 push-ups or something like that. But it just makes me like, I remember when I broke my arm and I was in a full cast. I had like a Wolverine brace on my hand. I couldn't do anything except for ride a stationary bike. And I would go to the YMCA every single day for 40 minutes and just sit on the stationary bike. You can't go like more than like a mile per hour on it. It's like you're literally sitting down, you've got like a backrest, like 80-year-old men in there like flipping their magazines. And I remember thinking there, I was just like, in my mind, I always like have these like kind of daydreams or whatever, like think about things in my head, and it's like, I'm at the CrossFit Games, I'm gonna go to the CrossFit Games. And I would just think about the CrossFit Games when I like pedal on the bike, like this is what I wanna do, like this is gonna make me better, like I promise. Like, so every day I would sit on the bike and think about like going to the CrossFit Games. So like I have always had like a drive for sure. And now I just, instead of letting, that's obviously something that I want to accomplish, but I can't let it define me either. So.
Like that.
Yeah.
So we've covered a lot of performance, injury, rehab, your genesis of CrossFit. I think everyone wants to know, how do you eat?
How do I
That's
eat?
so good.
How do you
I
eat?
want to know.
How do you eat?
So I'm like super routine and super strict. Like, I eat very, like I like to eat the same thing every day. Like I don't really cheat. Like, I don't really eat ice creams on Saturdays. Like, so Saturday is my cheat day in the sense that I'll enjoy more. I'll eat more, but I do a kind of, actually Jay got me into like a carb backloading approach. So I'll train off of like proteins and fats, and then right after I train, I'll like incorporate some carbs into my diet, and then I won't have carbs until like after 5. So then I'm kind of fueling for recovering from the day, and then like fueling for the next day.
So paint us a picture, like getting up in the morning. Like,
Getting up, I always have bulletproof coffee, so I have my caveman coffee.
Oh, shit.
I have the
Didn't
MCT
plan
oil.
that.
I put some grass-fed butter in it. I blend it, so that usually like holds me over. And depending on like my work schedule, I can usually train off of that. And then I'll have for breakfast like 2 or 3 eggs, either like chicken sausage or turkey bacon. Like, I really like kale, so I'll have kale.
Do you bring this in yourself, or is there?
I make it myself.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah. And then
How early do you get up in the morning?
well, I usually have to open the gym, so.
So you're waking up early enough to make yourself 3 eggs, sausage before you get to work, or you?
No, so I'll come home. So usually, I'll come home,
Alright.
or if I know I'm not coming home and I'm going to train right after that, I'll make it the night before.
Got it.
But prepping. I wake up at like 3:45, 4 o'clock, like 3 days a week.
Yeah.
But I go to sleep at like 7:30.
Yes.
Yes.
Fucking senior citizen special,
Yeah.
baby. It's all about that. I watch
My
Murder, She
phone's
Wrote.
on
Go to fucking bed.
silent. My phone's on silent by like 8 o'clock.
Wow.
And I've gotten to, that's the only way, like sleep is super important to recovery. The nutrition thing, I know I should be a little like less crazy about it. I'm not crazy about it. I was definitely more crazy about it last year. But I kind of I like clean, really good food, like good quality. I don't really.
One other thing I saw.
So you just gotta keep it simple. That's
I
pretty
keep it
much what you
simple,
do.
yeah.
I said it's stupid.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't eat like an
No
asshole.
fried foods, no processed
Don't eat like an
foods.
asshole.
Not a ton of, no gluten really.
Did you see our last podcast?
No alcohol. I've actually had, so I didn't drink it all last year. And I was like, I'm not having any fun. And then this summer I was like, fuck it, I don't care. Like, I came in like 28th place at Regionals. Not having any fun didn't get me anywhere. So like been a lot more relaxed about it. If I want to go drink, I'll have a couple of drinks. If I want to go out and party, I'll go out and fucking party.
What's your drink of choice? So
What's
that
my
if
drink
anybody
of
wants to buy her a
choice?
drink, they know.
Yeah.
I like Patron.
This is
I like
for the boys.
tequila.
Oh,
Patron.
I like
hey.
tequila.
Patron.
I
see
do
that
like a
coming.
good beer. I do like a good beer.
What kind of beers do you like? IPAs? Sweet beers?
Rice and beans.
So Jay's big. My brother's a big beer guy, and he gave me this stout. I think it was like 1050 or something.
Okay.
It was like 10.5% alcohol in it. I was like shit faced
You get
after
one,
half a
yeah.
beer. Like, I can't drink
Stouts
this
are good.
anymore. Stouts are good. I like an IPA. The Lagunitas IPA I really like.
Tastes fine.
But yeah, if I want a beer, I'll have a beer. You know.
All right.
That's,
So your Patron, do you just take that on the rocks or what?
yeah, I'll drink Patron.
Yeah,
on the rocks. Yeah,
That's good actually. It's a taste. I like Patron on the rocks.
I have bad experience with tequila. Like honestly,
It's a
the
summer
word,
drink, though.
The word just tequila just makes
Some
I
women
sense.
think we
can't handle
should
tequila.
go down that route.
No, we won't.
First time I had sex, I was drinking tequila. Jose Cuervo, not as high class.
I was 13. I couldn't drink.
I wasn't illegal either. I was, shouldn't have.
Wait. So nutrition,
Fun
sleep.
fact, Andre.
Fun fact, Andre.
Nutrition, sleep, very important. And you've recently started meditating.
Yeah, so my coach, Yami Tikkanen, is like a big hippie, and he's really into, he's into this Wim Hof, who's
Oh my God, I
the
love Wim
Iceman. So I've been incorporating like breathing exercises. I do it before every session, and basically you take 30 deep breaths in and out, basically exhaling more oxygen than you take in, or exhaling more than you take in. Right?
We're gonna do it together at the end of the podcast.
And then you hold your breath, and the 30th breath, you hold it for as long as you can, and then you exhale, and then you go through the cycle three times. I've also been doing these neural warm-ups that at first I wasn't really sold on, but now I have to do like before I train each session, and I think it just dials me in mentally. It gets like kind of my brain warmed up, and it looks ridiculous. I make Jackie do it with me when I'm here, and you like rub your face, you rub your hair, you rub your belly.
I think that's
But it's a martial arts warm up, I think, and I don't know. I've had really good lifting sessions before I've done it. I've had really good training sessions when I've done it, and like I said, I think it helps me mentally focus on what I have to do. I physically am capable of things, but like I said, I think the mental part of it is big, and this kind of warms everything up, gets the brain going. So I've been doing a lot of that.
I think that's major. I didn't know that. That's pretty sweet. I mean,
Yeah.
I've heard about Wim Hof, and he's doing a camp like in next winter that I was looking into.
Yeah, it's crazy what he can do.
It's-
Like
it's insane.
I've tried like the cold showers and
I
stuff.
did that the other day.
It's hard.
He
It's
also
hard.
has a documentary.
Yeah, it's called The Iceman.
I
It's
saw
a
it.
Vice documentary. It's pretty crazy. Like he climbed Everest in his shorts or something.
God.
Yeah, he's,
Like he sat in like an ice box for 2
he
minutes.
has amazing energy. I don't know. It's just
Yeah.
it's just insane.
But the breathing is very cool. I'm also doing this running where you can only, so it's like nose breathing. So you'll run for a minute, just breathing through your nose, and then you walk, and like you can breathe regularly when you're walking. And then 2 minutes, just nose breathing, then you walk 3 minutes, up to 5 minutes, and then back down. And it's definitely, I think, one, training you when your heart rate's up to, you don't need as much oxygen in the body, and just training like breathing techniques, which I think are huge in CrossFit too, because as soon as you start breathing heavy, it's like, oh my God.
Or looking beat.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Do you do this during the winter as well?
the running?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I've just, actually, I had my first week of running last week. I did it on a treadmill. So I have it again on Friday. It's cool though. It's hard to breathe through your nose for 5 minutes running. And you're supposed to like increase the pace.
That's supposed to be like an elevation mask on steroids.
Yeah, so I think the idea is like if you have an elevation mask, you use that.
But I will say that my issue with elevation masks is that it'll change your breathing pattern more than it'll help you, whereas what you're doing will help you.
Right.
You
Okay.
know, I think the breathing mask just changes the way you breathe.
And who wants to look like Bane?
I
When
do.
you're working out.
I do.
We had a guy
Now,
come
my
on the Fifth
professional
Ave
gift.
a while ago, and he would wear a breathing mask or a training mask. I'm like, what are you doing?
Just work harder, bro.
Yeah, exactly. Like, go faster.
So ridiculous.
Lift faster.
Well, I mean,
So
like for you
ridiculous.
as an athlete, you can't wear it while you're training, so you might as well not get used to it. You know? It's
Right, like I get it, like, I don't know.
I mean, I get the science of it.
I get the
but
science of it.
It's
I
like,
mean, you should just create a chamber and sleep in it. Like
Exactly.
like you're better off
There-
before the open going and live in elevation for like 2
Exactly.
weeks.
Right, or club
Yeah.
runners.
Yeah.
It takes
It
some
takes
time.
to have that metabolic change in your body. You have to like sleep in that
Yeah,
shit.
and that's
Yeah.
what the elite
Yeah.
cyclists do.
Yeah.
The Tour de France, they literally like sleep in these
Hyperbaric
Hyperbaric
chambers.
and it's,
Yeah.
I mean, we have one here. I'd sleep here.
That's like, I mean, the research has shown it's the people who live there over prolonged periods of time.
Right, and that's adaptation.
Indigenous, yeah.
And that's genetic potential, but anyways.
We don't have anything against elevation masks. You guys are good.
If you guys want to sponsor us, we'll take. I'll wear that shit all day. All
Podcast
day.
and elevation mask.
Podcast with the mask on.
And then you guys can reshoot your Batman first paint.
Yes. Let's
Yeah.
talk about who do you hang out with? Like, who are your friends? We talked about who you train with. You go to sleep at the same time I do.
They're like, I'm
Like-
no, everyone's like,
Andre's
you're
looking
no
for friends
fun.
that
I know.
You're
But
no
hey,
fun.
I just want like a.
People
hey,
try to get
like-
me to go out on weekends. Why am I going out on a Wednesday? Like, I'm
Yeah.
not going out to hang out with you. I don't hang out with you. Like, I sit, I'm really into the Nick, so I go home on Fridays or on Saturdays. I watch the Nick. It's a show on Cinemax. It's crazy. It's really good.
I thought we were saying Nickelodeon.
I was like,
I was like, that's still up?
I was like,
Is that
doctors back in the day.
Like,
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
Keenan and
It's
Kel
really
and shit
good.
like that, you know?
Who are my friends? I mean, I basically spend all my time in a gym, so everyone on Fifth Ave is my friend. People are gonna get really butthurt if they're like, after this drop, I have like 5 friends.
This is a real question right here. Do you have requirements if they want to work out with you? Do you just let anyone work out with you?
So like, I'm super picky about that too. Like, I feel bad. Like,
Say no.
Sorry, Julio.
No,
no, it's not. No.
man.
Here's the thing. I don't care if anyone and I've actually like kind of struggled with this recently. I don't care if anyone wants to train with me. Just come up and ask wherever. But I'm not gonna sit here and teach you how to do things. So if like you can't do it, I'm not gonna like take time out of my training to be like, no, you have to do this, you have to do that. I was doing like it's called the deflection test on Monday. So I've been doing. Chris knows that I've been doing this in Brian McKenzie's endurance program. It's like a 6-week block based on like 3 days a week, different heart rate zones. And so at the end of the 6 weeks, you do this deflection test, and basically you start on the bike, and every minute you add 2 RPMs. So you have to hold that RPM for a minute, and then you increase by 2. And basically you go until you can't hold the RPMs anymore. This guy at the gym, and I hate when people are around me when I'm training or like when I'm doing a test or like, even when like people are cheering me on, like Jay at the end of, yes, actually I don't mind when Jay does it, when Jay like, come on Liz, because he finished the workout before me, but when other people are, I'm like, shut the fuck up, I'm trying, like, get away from me, like, yeah, you beat me, we use the same weight, like, shut up. And so this guy, this member of the gym, he's like, I'm on the bike, and he starts asking me a question about the workout.
Are you
I'm
serious?
like, get the fuck away from me. Like, do you not see me right now? And he's completely oblivious. It's just like, people lack any self-awareness. Like, I do not like to be bothered when I'm training. Like, do not come up to me.
Yeah.
But in terms of like, if people are like, hey, can I work out with you? I think people are afraid to ask me. Like, but I wouldn't say no. But I'm not gonna also like
Take time.
babysit you.
Right.
But I would never say no.
Yeah.
No. But I don't think people will ask me.
Hey, can I work out with you tomorrow?
Yeah, for sure.
But if she has to coach you, they have personal training sessions that you can
Right,
purchase.
$150 for a training session.
Perfect.
Cash.
Plus tax.
Cash.
Plus tax. That's good. I like
No,
that.
but like I actually like, you know, we did one Saturday, I had this like terrible workout, and I got a bunch of people at Fifth Ave just to do it with me, and it's fun. Like, they had a good time, and they keep asking me to do it again. I'm like, when it comes up. But I don't. The more it's fun with people.
Yeah.
So I'm not like super.
Do you prefer team or do you prefer individual? I mean, I know you had that one moment where you were like, I wish I'd gone team, but
Dude, no.
you taste individual now.
I've tasted. I've always like. I've been a pretty terrible teammate too. I'm a pretty terrible teammate. I'm the first one to admit it. Like, I've had good and bad experience with team. Like, I just have such high expectations, and my issue with team is I don't want, like, whether or not I'm successful to depend on someone else. Like, I can't depend on someone else, and I think that's the problem with team for me. And you know, I take it so seriously where people might, hey, this is for fun, like, you know, this isn't my life, whereas like this is a big part of my life. So that's a problem when you're on a team. because some people don't want to put in the work that you're putting in, and you're like, well, I don't fucking care, and then there's a problem. And I've had, like, I definitely see myself as a leader, but I've definitely been a bad teammate too. Like, not supportive, not you know, there when I should be there. And,
I feel like if it's
trying
not
to be
there
positive.
if it's not there from the beginning,
Yeah.
if you don't establish that from the beginning, like everyone's gonna put the
on the
same
same
effort.
page. If you're not on the
they're
same page, it's not going to
yeah.
work. So I think that's my problem with team. That being said, like, I love competing on a team with Jay. Like, that was so much fun. I definitely would go team again, but right now I want to focus on individual.
Yeah.
I have one more question. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think the key on working with a team is just making sure that you know all the athletes that you're going to be working
Right,
with,
right.
and like have a good relationship with
Right.
them. Like it sucks. Like I did a competition with Doer.
Yeah.
It was a handful of weeks ago, and like I trained with Doer pretty regularly, but the other guy that was on the team, like we'd never trained together.
Right.
So the communication was just way off when it came to competition.
And
My
it's good to
expectations
know.
were here, and
It's good to know your team, like you're saying, like to know like your teammates. Like I know this person's going to do that. Like I know how to talk to this person where I can't talk to that person that way. So that's super important. Like the cohesiveness, you know, getting along, that teamwork, it's huge. And so we've had that on the teams that I've been on, and then we haven't had that as well. So there's been good and bad.
To be fair, your other teammate didn't even speak English.
that's true. So that's why the communication was a little bit off.
I was
like,
supposed to be
Nope.
there to translate, but I left to Turkey.
Well, and he
it didn't work
didn't.
out.
He's not a CrossFitter.
Right,
Right,
right.
He's an
We
insane Olympic
we
weightlifter.
crushed the lifting event, and then the CrossFit events
It's like
were
a
like,
three position with like 315 or something like that.
Easy.
They beat everybody.
yeah.
And he's like
We
180.
knew that would happen. We
Yeah,
knew that would
yeah.
happen because you.
After the first one, I was like, oh, we just fucking killed this competition.
Yeah, I was like, we gotta win.
And
we
then
gotta
it was
win.
like,
and then it's time for
muscle-ups
muscle
and-
ups, and he's like,
He gets like one, and then I'm like, wait, we gotta go like 30 more, bro. I'm like, I can't do that many.
well, it's so funny because he's like this Latin guy. You know how Latin guys, you know how you are. You have like, you have much cheese, but you're like, oh yeah. He's like, I was like, how are your muscle ups? He's like, oh man, good. I do like 10. I do like 10 in a row. No big deal. I'm like, awesome, cool.
Yeah.
So he goes up to the rings. 1, 2. Can't catch the third one. I'm like, no! Just standing there.
That's the other thing with team. Like everyone says they can do everything. I'm like, no. Let's be honest.
Right.
Yeah.
With Andre, I know what he can do. I'm like, I'll do all the burpees. You go do the deadlifts. We'll
Right,
figure it out.
Yeah. After that, I was like, all right, you're rowing the entire time. I'm like, I'm not even doing any of that.
Yeah.
You're rowing.
Yeah, we're passing a couple minutes, but for all of your Instagram followers, is there like
Oh yeah.
a specific kind of like people that are reaching out to you, or is there a message you want to get out to them, or
Mostly perverts, or is it like?
No, like,
That was a place
I've
where
got
I was
like some
going.
weird. So my thing on Instagram is like I just like to portray like who I am. Like I like rap music. I like wearing like
no Wayne?
yeah.
We're gonna do a Lil Wayne intro
I
for
like
this
wearing
podcast
like
for you.
sweatpants and a beanie or whatever. Like I want to portray like who I am through Instagram. I'm not gonna like take off my clothes and kind of try to get Instagram followers that way, or just like I like to show people like when I post videos or pictures of working out. That's it, basically. And I've posted like normal pictures, nobody likes it. I've posted like food pictures, people like that, but like people want to see people working out. Like I don't know why either. Like
It's
but-
motivating.
Yeah,
I
guess
get motivated
so,
watching this, guys.
So that.
Fuck you.
I want to see working out.
West African something.
You know, strong people, like females,
Yeah.
that kind of thing.
So where can the future followers find you on Instagram? What's your Instagram name?
Liz Adams 21.
Why 21?
It's my basketball number.
There you go.
And
Do
why
you still play?
No, I haven't played in a
Oh.
while. I
What
still
position?
got it done.
What was
Two
it?
guard.
Two guard. Oh, can you dunk?
No, but I used to be able to touch rim in high
I
school.
would.
You might be able to dunk now.
Holy shit. What's
I
all
don't
you?
know, 5'8".
Oh man, it's cool.
Try it out.
I get to rim, but I mean, I'd fall on my ass when I
Yeah.
tried.
Yeah, but Liz is stronger than you.
Yeah, she's way stronger.
Although I did try, like I was playing around up in New Hampshire, the gym I go to, they have like a basketball net, basketball hoop and a ball there, and like the first time I grabbed the ball, I like chucked it over the basket.
Too strong.
Whoa.
Too strong.
It's
Too
down,
strong.
down, down,
Bricks,
down,
man.
down.
It's not a two down wall ball.
And the first thing that goes when you don't play basketball anymore is your handle. Like I was like, I can't dribble the ball anymore.
We should get a.
I definitely want to
Union
play
Square
more.
versus with that game going.
Basketball. Bobby's really good at basketball.
I'm
so.
awful.
I'm pretty good.
You're black. How are you bad at basketball?
Too strong.
He's not really
Too
black.
strong.
Yeah.
He's getting better at swimming.
I'm getting better. I'm
All
trying
you
to
gotta do
swim,
is
trying to
post
break
them
down
up
the
in the paint. That's
stereotypes.
it.
Yeah. I'm good at
Just get them
defense.
moving the paint. That's it.
I never got the dribbling and shooting thing.
I'm a great dancer.
You could probably just dunk. All you'd have to do is just feed you the ball, turn around and dunk it.
Just joking.
All right.
All right. Well, thank you, Liz, for
Thank
coming
you,
around.
guys.
We had so much fun. Fitness League 5 on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. Follow Liz Adams 21. And that's that. We'll see you next time. Have an awesome life and day.